Hello and welcome to Viking Preview here on TV 25. I'm your host, Evan Woodward. Viking Preview is a show here on TV 25 where we take a look at the upcoming seasons as well as events of the sports here at Hazlitt High School. Today we're going to take a look at the football season, and with me is head coach Charlie Atluski, assistant coach Rob Porritt, and one of the captains, Mark Stocker. Thank you very much for being here today, gentlemen. Now, Coach O, you've made quite an impact since you first arrived here in Hazlitt, and we've had a lot of winning seasons and some great games here at Hazlitt. Now, after last year's season, what have you done in the off-season and in this year's preseason to try to ready the team for this year's season?
Something a little bit different. We started what we call zero-hour conditioning and training, where we came in as a regular class that went from 6:30 in the morning till 7:30, and we lifted 3 days a week and worked on our speed and quickness Tuesdays and Thursdays for most of the winter. Then later on in the spring, we worked on some offensive and defensive things in the off-season. So a little more commitment in terms of the off-season, especially that early in the morning.
6:30 in the morning is an early time to start a class.
Right.
Now, what have you done over the summer to keep the troops ready?
The usual thing that we've done in the past. We'll lift 3 days a week. People have various work schedules, so we try to make it somewhat flexible as long as they're lifting and conditioning. About the same thing we've done in the past.
Now, a lot of people that follow Hazlitt football know a lot about Camp Graylick, and I know you take the team there for its first preseason practices of the year. Did that go as planned, and did it go well?
Yeah, I thought it went really well. In fact, we as coaches talked about that the chemistry is as good or better than we've ever had it, including the teams I used to coach up north. So we're real happy with our chemistry and our work ethic that we had out of those guys.
So better than the teams you had up north. You coached previously at St. Ignace, correct?
Yep.
So and you have some state qualifying teams up there as well.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive if that's one of the better.
So far.
So, all right. And now I understand you had a scrimmage last weekend. How did that go?
I thought it was a great scrimmage for us. You know, we were challenged a great deal by Clarkson. We played real solid defense, and offensively we found some things we need to work on. And then Orchard Lake challenged us with a lot of speed that we, for the most part, never see. And so it was a great scrimmage, at least from the standpoint of being challenged.
So you measured up pretty well then. That's
fairly
good.
well, yeah.
That's good. Now, in terms of your preseason practices, have you been changing anything around? And
one of the things that Coach Port and I talked about is we've set it up starting this week in particular, where everybody basically gets to work on offense and defense every day. And so we haven't two-platooned where everybody just plays one side or the other, but we've kind of structured practices where we can work on offense and defense every day, group time and team time. So that's been an advantage for us. Like today, we got to work on a lot of offense, and he got to work on his defense at the same time.
Well, that's good. Has the team been meeting your expectations for the preseason?
I think so far, yeah. We've worked extremely hard, been very committed. The team's been very responsive in terms of everything that we've asked for thus far.
I'm sure they're very excited to get ready with the season.
Sure we are. We really are.
Now, I understand there were some changes made in the schedule this year. You've lost Coloma as well as Marshall and added Gaylord and Adrian. Why were these changes made? Well,
Coloma dropped us from the schedule, so we had to go find a game to replace them. And then Gaylord, the 2-year contract with Marshall was up, and so we picked up Gaylord. They're a Class A school, so that gets us extra points for the playoffs. And they're a team that's up north, but they're, camp up north near Traverse City is a further distance, so we weren't really concerned with that. And Adrian was just it's difficult to find a fourth game, and they are also an A, so we're looking at our playoff averages and trying to increase that as well.
Yeah, so you're adding on some very difficult teams to play
tough teams
during the regular season. Now, Coach P, as you look at this season, what are the goals that you see the team trying to achieve this year?
Well, I think the biggest thing for this group of seniors that are back for their 4th year is they have had moderate but not great success over their careers in terms of wins and losses, and I've seen a great hunger out of those kids. There's 22 seniors back, and their work ethic and leadership has been unmatched by any team that I've been involved with. And then in terms of the juniors coming, they have had great success in the win-loss column, and they bring the experience of knowing how to win some of the big games and the championship games. And so far, I've seen a great chemistry between those groups.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, 22 seniors coming back, that's a large number, especially compared to last year. Does that shows the leadership and the maturity of the team? Has that really affected things going so far?
Yeah, exactly. I've commented numerous times in the preseason about the hunger of the group of seniors. I think they were maybe unfairly chosen to be kind of a maybe not such a great football class when they were younger. They were freshmen. They didn't win many games, and I think a lot of that was some of them were pulled away from each other to the JV level and the varsity level, and they finally have a chance to be back together as a whole class, and And I'm just excited that the kids that are there have stuck it out and now get a chance to show people, that they really are going to be able to succeed.
Yeah, I know the senior class struggled through those first few years, but I know that they're very, very excited to be back together, and especially with the junior class, as you said, with their great success on the freshman and the JV level last year, and so we're all looking forward to what's coming up. Now, Coach Sport, you are the official defensive coordinator for the team this year. What other roles do you play in terms of that defensive coordinator?
Well, I think one thing Coach was probably a little bit attracted to about me was that I'm just kind of a fly by the seat of my pants guy, and try to bring a sense of energy to the program and to practice every day. And I just love what I do out there, and probably more than anything, I think that's probably what I add to the program.
Now, anyone that's gone by and watched the practices sees that you are very emotional and just love to get the team motivated, and that's a thing that you really enjoy. Is that's something that's just going to keep continuing through these years? And I know that you really enjoy getting the team ready to go, and that's true, correct?
Exactly. I guess the day that I'm not having fun and going out and running around screaming and hollering is probably the day I should step aside and let someone else do that.
Well, as we know, you've been doing a very nice job here at Hazlitt. Where were you before you came into Hazlitt? What was your coaching background before you came here? You used to be a player.
Yeah,
right?
When I came out of college, I got a teaching job in Sault Ste. Marie and was a teacher and coach up there for 6 years. And then the opportunity came for my wife and I were fortunate enough to get teaching jobs here in Hazlitt and grabbed a hold of that and came down. This will be our 4th year back here.
Now, when you did play for Hazlitt, you were an ICL championship team, correct?
Actually, not in football. We were 5-4 my senior year. I was part of 2 championship basketball teams, but we never won in football.
All right. Now, moving on to Mark, you were one of the team's captains this year, correct?
Yep.
Now, how did you get to be chosen as one of the captains?
I think it was kind of a mix between the other guys on the team and maybe the coaches had a little to do with that too.
Now, we know that as a captain, you're a leader of the team. What kind of a leadership role do you play?
I just want the guys to do as much as they can so we can win. I mean, that's what we're out there for every day. So that's what our goals are. We want to just do as best as we can, put all of our talent that we have together and make the best of it.
Try to make the best. Now, why do you think that you were specifically chosen as a captain?
I think because a lot of the guys on the team will follow like what I'll do.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a hard work ethic. I pretty much am all go when it's all said and done, I'm there.
Yeah, now, for those that have seen Mark perform, and also in the offseason, he spends a great amount of time in the weight room as well as out running, and those that have seen him on the field know that he has the hunger for the game. And Mark, now, who are the other captains on the team besides yourself?
Mark Trotter and Brandon Harden.
Mark Trotter and Brandon Harden. Yep. 2 very good choices for captains,
definitely.
2 great leaders. Now, what do you see yourself doing after this season? Do you see yourself playing in the college football? Have you been recruited by different schools?
I'd love to play college football. That's like my highest hopes. I also play basketball, and I'd love to play there. But I'm not too sure where I'm headed because I'm not definitely sure what I want to do after college. So I think that's kind of what I want to set my goals towards, is what I want to do after college. So if that means I can play college football also, then that's where I want to be because I definitely want to play.
Yeah, that's definitely a big decision and something that you've put a lot of time and effort into thinking in, and just kind of hope that plans out. We know that you have both a great football and basketball career going ahead for you, so we'd like to wish you the best of luck in your Coach Otluski. I know that last year the team was plagued with a lot of injuries. We had about 5 or 6 guys that were gone for the entire season after about the 3rd or 4th game. What has the team done to try to take care of that problem?
I bought a lot of knee braces in the offseason.
Oh.
We actually did do that. Sometimes some studies show it helps, some studies show it doesn't. But the big thing that we've done is we try to get stronger and quicker. Because if you're stronger and you're more agile, you're a little less apt to suffer injuries. But sometimes you just got to be lucky. You know, last year I've never seen a team endure so many injuries to starters like we did in overall. I think we actually lost almost 6 or 7 people for the year.
Yeah, a lot of knee injuries last year.
And we had a lot of knees and forearms, and so it was just one of those years where you just happened to get a lot.
Yeah, I guess the years kind of go. You know, you have better luck some years than others. And I understand there is a new trainer now at the with the program.
Beth, I'm not sure of her last name, but she's done a nice job so far, and we just hope to get lucky and stay away from injuries.
Yeah, we've heard fantastic things about her so far, and we do miss Lisa, but we've heard that she's really filled in and done a nice job there. Now, when you look at your offense this year, who are your key runners, I mean, your key weapons for the team?
Well, I think right now you look at Logan Barnhart and Peter Eric, two of last year's starters in the backfield, and you know they're going to split time at both fullback and halfback, and they're a real tough duo. And the third back you add in is Steve Shepard, Ben Murray, and Joe Norris, and so and with Nick Scheibe at quarterback. For a defense to have to defend us, there's a lot of weapons, I think, compared to the past. We've either had a good fullback game and a great halfback game and not a fullback. So this is the first time since, I think, probably '94 that we've been able to really kind of put them all together and actually add a little more speed at quarterback than compared to '94.
So the running game is looking fantastic. How has the passing been coming along?
I think it's been going good. It's slowly progressing. You know, there's a lot of link up that needs to go between our tight ends and our receivers and our quarterback, and I think we're getting better and better at that. Jeff Smith and Chad Myers and Pat Selskaber are our three tight ends, you know, that we're looking at. And Jeff's first year playing football since transferring from Lansing Everett. Practiced last year but didn't play, so he's going through kind of a learning stage. And so is Selskaber, who was hurt last year and out the last five ball games. So it's coming along.
Yeah, you mentioned that Jeff Smith came over from Everett, and he did practice with the team last year, and he's also a basketball player
Correct.
as well. So it must be nice to have him back.
It's nice. He's learned how to block. He's got real soft hands, and right now that's his asset.
Now, looking at Nick Scheibele, he's the new starting quarterback for this Viking team, right? Mm-hmm. Now he's a junior.
Right.
How has he been maturing under the varsity level and practicing with the seniors and the older guys? I
think he's been doing a real good job. I think he's even, you know, as Mark is a center, you know, he's learned a new position this year. But I think he has real good command in the huddle. Even though he's not a so-called captain, he is a captain of the offense. So when he steps in, he has good command of the offense. And most good quarterbacks, you wouldn't say that you want him cocky, but he's very confident. And sometimes that can kind of be perceived in the media or in the high school as a good thing or bad thing. But a quarterback's got to have confidence that he can do certain things. And Nick has that capability, but he also has a lot of knowledge, does a lot of little things right, and he's got good speed on the corner for us.
So he'll be a good runner as well as a passer then.
Exactly.
So we can look forward to having that be exciting. Now, you had mentioned earlier that you have players practicing both on offense and defense. Mm-hmm. Is it kind of the platoon system that we saw a few years ago, or how is that working?
It's really the platoon system, except what we're doing is they're in the preseason through camp, and the first week back, I believe it was, we had guys practice both sides of the ball. So what we want to do is we wanted to develop some depth in both offense and defense. Mm-hmm. So as opposed to having someone just be an offensive player, then 6 weeks into the season have to play defense without any preparation, we want to try to take away some of that. And so building depth in the same case.
So building depth and building knowledge. And
correct.
So the player has a better understanding of what's happening and being able to read what's going on around him.
I think at this point, if we started Friday night, we maybe have two full-time guys going both ways, Brandon Harden and Mark Stocker, and Steve Shepard seeing some of offense as well.
Some of the both ways, so we'll have a lot more understanding of their positions, and, and that should really help out. Plus, you'll have a lot less guys dragging around and getting tired towards the end of the game, because as we know, that those of us who have watched football, we know that when you play both ways, you watch the players kind of get ragged and tired, and things can get much more difficult.
Yeah, our goal in the fourth quarter is to be a little fresher and more eager in the fourth.
So, Coach Port, does the defense look meaner this year? I mean, does it look like they're more ready to go, hungrier for the ball, you know, trying to get those fumbles and the interceptions?
Yeah, I don't think there was anything wrong with the group last year in terms of that. I think the kids wanted to play and make plays, and they didn't want to allow points to go on the board. Fortunately, some things developed that didn't allow us to have a great year on defense. But this group coming back, you know, like I said earlier, is very hungry, and I think there's a great group of hungry kids coming up from the JV that really like to hit. And I think overall, two things come to mind in terms of why I hope that we'll be a better defensive team, and that is I think we're faster and we get to the ball a little bit quicker, and I think that the weight room is paying off. I think there's a lot more strength there that are going to help us, you know, control the line of scrimmage a little bit better.
So you feel that the 0-hour training that Coach had mentioned earlier in the program has really helped the defense to become more physically ready for this year?
Yeah, without question. I think that'll pay big dividends.
Now, I add what, you know, just intersect a little bit, kind of add something that we talked about today after practice was we've never been challenged having the two platoon kind of basic concept with offense and defense. We haven't been challenged, and Mark made a comment offensively this early in the season by as strong a defense as we've had in the past. This is by far our strongest that I've seen thus far, and not to put any undue pressure on their defense, but they're doing such a good job that they're making our offense work extremely hard in comparison to last few years. We've maybe gotten that maybe 2 or 3 weeks into the season.
Mm-hmm.
So far, they've done a great job for themselves, but also they're challenging us every day.
Yeah, now Mark, you being a player, you would know better than anyone else that when you have 11 starters, say, on the offense, and then you have to form a scout defense from some starters as well as some people who don't start, sometimes the people don't know exactly what's going on, and the offense doesn't get a good as look. Now, is that looking better this year? I mean...
Oh, this year with how we're doing it these days, it's so much better because last year you'd be used to, like, every other run down, you'd score a touchdown because you're going against, like, a scout D, or when there's a scout O in there, your defense is just, like, crushing the scout quarterback, and that's not good for him. It's just getting us a lot more prepared for the season, which is exactly what we need.
Which is fantastic. Things must get very intense down there with starter against starter.
Yeah,
Probably get some good rivalries going down there on the line. So you've seen personally that it's really been improving the team and helping things.
Yeah, I think so, definitely.
It hasn't been breaking the team up at all, that they have to go head-to-head up against each other every day?
I think it actually brings us kind of closer together because we know that the guy across from us is making us that much better.
So that must really be helpful when you can actually get a good look at what the other team's scheme is and being able to almost play the type of football that the other teams will be playing.
Yeah.
Now, Coach P, looking at this defense this year, who do you see as your big star stepping up? I know that Brandon Harden is coming back for his 3rd straight year on the varsity level, and you must be very excited because he has matured so much since that sophomore year when he stepped out there. And I know I'm very excited to see him. How do you see the defense?
Well, I think addressing Brandon first, I think one thing that could make this team a special one is a person like him. He's led us in tackles 2 straight years from the middle linebacker spot, and we asked him to go down and play nose guard for us in his senior year, and he did that without a hitch. And I think that's the kind of selflessness that's been going on early in the season that is going to make us a good football team. I think he could very well be an all-league, all-area, all-state kind of a nose guard down there. And I don't know that there's one specific superstar in this defense. We've got kids all over that just are playing their position and doing their job, and I think running to the football and having some fun while they're doing it, and it's going to make all the difference. And one other comment I was going to make, going back to the personnel that they asked me about, I think one thing that we're starting to see pay off is the lower level coaching that's going on. I think Coach Bott and Coach Beebe and Coach Woodworth at the freshman level, as well as Coach Bain and Coach Bartley at the JV level, one thing that they really add to our program is the amount of intensity that they instill in the kids. And when they come to us, we don't have to breed a false sense of intensity. Those kids are there and they love to hit, and they've been hitting, and they've been intense, and they've developed that type of a demeanor about them that I believe this year will really begin to pay off.
Yeah, the early years of the high school ball is really very, very important for the teams to come up and then play on the varsity level. They have to have that intensity in those first 2 years that they were there. Now, another 3-year veteran in your defense is Mark Trotter. Now, I know he started at corner and he's been moved around in the secondary. Where should we expect to see him this year? He's
right now, as we moved Brandon down to the nose guard, we've moved Mark into the middle linebacker spot, and he's just been doing a super job there. We're so excited for him. He's one of those guys from last year that missed a good chunk of the season with a knee injury, and we're just glad he's back and able to finish out on a high note. And I think that middle linebacker spot will suit him very well. It's a nice combo between he and Brandon up the middle there. So.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be very difficult for teams to try to run that ball right up the gut with Brandon, and if he can't get there, you have Mark filling in the hole, and that's going to be tough for teams to try to combat. Now, at All League last year, we had Nathan Cahill at the cover corner spot. How has he been measuring up in these preseason scrimmages?
Well, Nathan's a very good athlete, and I think the way we played press defense last year, which means our corners are right on the line of scrimmage, right in the wide receiver's face, I think that was a little bit more Nathan's game. I think he's having a little bit of an adjustment period here, getting to where we've dropped our corners back a little bit, and he doesn't get to be quite so aggressive. And he's going to be fine. He's going to be one of the best corners in the league, I'm sure. But this preseason has been a good one for him in terms of learning the new philosophy and adjusting to the way things are. But he'll be fine. He'll have a great senior year.
Now, can we expect to see Peter Ehrig playing some defense this year? We know that he came up to the varsity level as a sophomore last year and played a lot of running back and saw some time in the defense. Can we expect to see more of him in the defensive area?
Well, as you know, he's a very good athlete and physical, and you know there's a spot somewhere for him defensively. We've been bouncing him around. We had him in the secondary, and then we've moved him a little bit to outside linebacker, and we're trying to find a home for him. But I think right now he's working hard at becoming a real great halfback, and that's kind of his #1 priority, and kind of a depth builder on the defensive side.
Yeah, now we know that Peter is a phenomenal athlete, being a state qualifying wrestler, and that he's a very, very intense player. So I'm sure that what you said, that you could throw him in anywhere and that he could play that position. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up this year. Now, Coach Otluski, a lot of the fans have been a little disappointed that we've only have 4 home games on the schedule. Is that the way the cookie crumbles, or was that done with the new scheduling? Did that?
Well, the scheduling kind of precipitated that. We try to have 4 home games and then 5, the following year, and keep that rotation. But of the teams that are available, Adrian only had 4 home games. They had been without 5 for 2 years. So it was just an agreement that we had in the contract that we go at Adrian. So that's the only reason why we have 4.
So things just happened that way.
Just worked out that way.
So yeah, we know that DeWitt is going to be the first home game this
Correct.
year, and that's going to mean a lot to both students and players alike, and
Right.
teachers and
I mean,
faculty.
of the 4 home games, there were 3 of the probably I think the more exciting games that we'll play in our schedule with DeWitt, Fowlerville, and Gaylord, at the end of the season. So it should be an interesting 4 games at home.
Now, Fowlerville is the homecoming game this year, correct? So yeah, that'd be just like 2 years ago when we played them.
Exactly.
So I bet you're getting very, very excited for those home games. They have to start the season off on the road in Northwest,
Right.
and then travel to Williamston, correct?
Correct.
Now, how do you see yourself trying to get the team prepared for 2 home games? I mean, to go on the road for the first 2 games of the year. I mean, you have a lot of fans that follow, but it's got to be a little difficult not being able to play at the Viking Stadium. Playing here at the high school. It's got to be difficult.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's going to work to our advantage. One of the things that we've talked about is the fact that we are scrimmaging Thursday night with Corunna here at home, so that's kind of like our first home game, so to speak, so we're in our stadium. But being on the road, I think, takes a lot of pressure off. Our first 2 games are quality ball games, but it does allow us a chance to get on our feet and get rolling, and then our first home game will be our 3rd game with DeWitt. So actually, I kind of like how the schedule is going to play out in terms of our opponents and their order and whether we're home or away.
Now, going back, you said there was going to be a scrimmage this Thursday. Is this against Corunna and any other teams, or is it just the 2 of you?
Just Corunna. It's just us and Corunna at 7:30 in our stadium.
So you'll get a real good look at each other's teams then,
Right.
because I know going into scrimmages you usually scrimmage like 3 or 4 teams. Like
Right.
when you had Clarkston, and you probably had
Orchard Lake
St. Mary's there as well.
Right.
Both 2 excellent programs.
Right.
As most people know, Fife coming out of Clarkston and going down to Indiana to play basketball. Tremendous athlete. Had to
Right.
play up against him last year. So when you guys look at the season, I mean, you're looking at it with really good light and just expectations for things to go well. Now, Mark, I mean, what is the biggest thing that you see as the difference this year, the #1 thing that you see different from last year?
As a whole, our team gets along a lot better, and it's not like there's not a lot of guys getting on people, just trying to demolish what team unity is all about. We're just all together, and it kind of seems like we're all in one grade, to some effect, because it seems like we've all been friends for a while, because we just get along so well that I think our team unity's up 100% from last year.
Now, I know that a lot of players on the team play other sports, and they must build bonds in the other sports that they've played. So has that really played a role in helping the team with their togetherness and the morale?
I think, because some of the guys I know play basketball with us and stuff, and Coach P's there and everything, and we've been traveling all over the state this summer playing basketball, so that might have some effect to it. And that just kind of gets us to know some of the younger guys on our team.
Well, that's fantastic that you say that both the juniors and the seniors, you feel like you're kind of in the same grade. Must be tremendous. Now, Coach Port, would you say that's the #1 highlight for what's coming up this year, that you see the #1 difference?
Yeah, I would say that plays a big factor. I think I still go back to kids working. We got a lot stronger last year and felt going into last year that we were stronger. But I think the one thing that individual kids did through the 0-hour class and also into the summer, kids said, I need to get faster. And I think speed in terms of physical things that will be an improvement, will be a big difference. We get from here to there so much better than we have in the past, and that's a tribute to the kids' work ethic.
So, Coach, you must be very excited with, obviously, if Coach Port and Mark has spoken about how much better the team's physical ability has gotten. You must be tremendously excited going into this season.
I'm excited. I'm excited as I always am. In particular this year, just because Mark mentions in terms of the chemistry. It's really easy to identify teams that really get along well with each other, and that's not only the fact. You have to have players make plays in big games and that kind of stuff. But we're excited to scrimmage Thursday and then get ready for Northwest, and we're eager for that.
So how does the morale of this team and the togetherness, because I know that when the team comes together, the overall morale and the confidence of the team is really built up, because you know that if this guy doesn't get his job done, then this guy can step in and get this done, and everyone's going to be hitting each other on the helmet, trying to get each other up. How does this measure up against the past teams, both here in Hazlitt and up in St. Ignace?
Well, I think one of the things here is we have a lot more depth. We have 39 players, but we have, sometimes you consider if you have 39 players, some coaches may say, oh, I feel good about 20 or 22 or 23 of them, but we feel good about all 39 of our guys. If somebody goes down like a Stu Gliwa last scrimmage, we had Jeremy Telfor and other people and Chad Meyer step in, and we didn't miss a beat. This past week, Ben Brook hurt his shoulder yesterday a little bit, might be out a few days, and we've had Jason Bamford and Jake Kleiner step in at guard. So, those things are going to happen to us and happen to all teams, but one of the things that has set us apart is we have the depth and that we don't seem to miss a beat.
So going back to the platooning system, when you do have players that get injured or haven't gotten the job done, it does allow you to put in players that know exactly what's going on and can really fill that gap without that big of a notice.
Right.
So when you look at Northwest, do you see this game as kind of a get up and ready to go game, or a game that's really going to be difficult for you? I mean, how do you view this season opener?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I think as an opener, you're always excited for the opener. I don't know of any opener that you're not ready for, that you don't talk about, don't think about. Our whole focus has been Northwest. It's not Williamson, DeWitt, Adrian. It's Northwest because they're our first game. And we're excited to go down there. We know it's going to be a tough game because your first game, and it's in their stadium. So all those things are exciting things for us. But we're excited in terms of what our goals. Our goals are to win the league, go to the playoffs, and eventually play in the Silverdome. And Northwest is our first stepping stone towards that direction.
It must be difficult not to look past the Williamstons and the DeWitts. Coming into the season, how have you helped the team to do that?
Well, we really haven't done anything different than what we normally have. We've, it's the first ball game, and we know that it all starts at Northwest. It doesn't start anywhere past them, so we've been really focused towards those people.
Well, gentlemen, we'd like to thank you very, very much for your time today. We appreciate you being here on the station. Now, do you have anything else that you'd like to say here?
I think we'll look forward to having an exciting year, and I think the one thing you're going to see a vast improvement is our defense, and I think it'll be our key for winning this championship.
All right, if you have any questions about this or any other programs that run on TV 25, you can contact us at the studio at 339-7358. I'm Evan Woodward, and this has been a TV 25 Sports presentation.